20 minutes before 9. This is Jenkins, WTIX 2020 News. Temperature at report time, 79 degrees. Louisiana voters are expected to turn out in like numbers today as 6 of the state's 8 incumbent congressmen fight for their political lives. 2 of the state's congressional incumbents, Hale Boggs of New Orleans and J.D. Wagoner Jr. Plain Dealing, are unopposed. The campaigning for the congressional post has been relatively quiet by Louisiana standards. However, excitement may pick up in the November 3rd general election, with Boggs facing Republican Robert E. Lee of Gretna and an anti-war candidate, New Orleans attorney Benjamin Smith. Reports from Miami this morning of a large tropical depression, which may soon turn into a hurricane.
The tropical depression in the Bahamas has turned to within 350 miles of Miami. Highest winds are 50 miles per hour. The Miami Weather Bureau says that depression could intensify in a short period of time, and they have advised South Floridians to be on the alert for quick action in the event that the hurricane intensifies to hurricane force. At last report, the depression was located just north of the central Bahamas, moving toward the west-northwest at 20 miles per hour. In Miami, Russ Carlton, WTIX News.
President Nixon said in New Orleans yesterday that the South will integrate this fall in orderly and peaceful fashion. The president's statements came during his visit to the city after he was serenaded by Dixieland Jazz and cheered by a group of thousands along a motorcade to the French Quarter. Nixon emerged from a 2.5-hour meeting with his committee of school desegregation advisors from 7 states, saying the next generation would suffer most if people do not obey integration rulings. As Nixon put it to newsmen, we are one country, one people, and we're going to carry out the law. Craig Roberts has more on that.
The president told newsmen he recognizes race relation problems are not restricted just to the South.
This problem of race relations, and particularly with regard to segregation in our schools, is not a sectional problem. It's a national problem. It should be handled in a national way. I have no patience with those from the North that point the finger at the South and then overlook the fact that in many northern cities and northern states, the problem may also be a very, very difficult one.
Mr. Nixon spoke optimistically of the prospects for lessened trouble this fall and had some more kind words for committee members.
Time will tell how successful we have been, but I do know this. As a result of these advisory committees being set up, we are going to find that in many districts, the transition will be orderly and peaceful, whereas otherwise it could have been the other way. And the credit will go to these outstanding Southern leaders. More credit to them, actually, than to the federal officials who were there to help them.
After the press statement, Mr. Nixon joined his wife, who spent the day touring the city, and hosted a reception for press members. The motorcade then returned to the airport, and Air Force One was on the way home.
A 27-year-old New Orleans man was arrested and booked with attempted flag desecration yesterday when he set a match to a small American flag and threw the burning banner at the president's car. A New Orleans policeman said he saw the man, identified as Edwin M. Gaudette, help a chanting group of people raise a white banner which said, "All power to the people," as the president's car approached. 7 other persons were arrested in connection with the president's visit, 1 for threats allegedly made to do bodily harm to Nixon. 3 were taken into custody for disturbing the peace by using obscene language. 2 arrests were made for alleged interference with police, and 1 man was arrested for reviling the police. 2020 News Time, 8:45.
The Better Government Group of Jefferson Parish reminds voters that today is Election Day. Be sure to vote for the candidates of your choice. For Congressman from the 3rd Congressional District, the Better Government Group urges you to vote for Jules Molaire. Senator Molaire offers a solid record of achievement in government, business, and professional life. Be sure you vote today. Polls close at 8 p.m. Vote number 3. If you care, elect Molaire. The proceeding paid for by Jules Molaire.
The apparent shortage of money and merchandise in the prison store at the Louisiana State Prison is being investigated by prison authorities this morning. Prison officials tell us nobody knows just how much is missing, but one report says the shortage may run into the thousands of dollars. The shortage was due to a discrepancy in the inventory. WTIX headlines by Dateline. San Francisco avowed communist Angela Davis, a former UCLA instructor, has been charged with murder in connection with the San Rafael, California shootout in which 4 persons were killed. Saigon, the U.S. command in Saigon, reported this morning that a U.S. photo reconnaissance jet was fired on during a mission over North Vietnam. The command said neither the reconnaissance jet nor its two armed escort planes returned the fire. Beirut, Lebanon is accusing Israel of violating the Mideast ceasefire. A spokesman in Beirut says Israeli forces infiltrated into Lebanon and kidnapped 2 persons. For the WTIX Sports, here's John Reed.
The New Orleans Saints are in Houston today for a sold-out game with the Oilers tonight in the 45,000-seat Astrodome. Coach Fears said yesterday he'll have an all-veteran starting lineup against the Oilers, with the exception of rookie safety Hugo Hollis. It'll be the first time the veterans will get to see any action, following last week's rookie defeat over the Minnesota Vikings. The Saints are down to the regulation 60 players plus Ken Burrow, who played in the All-Star game and won't count on the roster until several weeks from now. A team spokesman announced yesterday rookie defensive end Perry Parson had been cut. He was from Los Angeles State. This is John Reed, WTIX Sports.
The weather is next on WTIX.
It's a bright new weekend with a bright new grip and shine. Grip and wax, shine that breathes, never dries or cracks your shoe. It won't gum or cake, and the leather won't break, and it saves a lot of work for you. Well, it's a bright new weekend, everybody's feeling fine. It's a bright new weekend with a bright new grip and shine.
Want to save work and shining the whole family's shoes? Get Griffin Self-Polishing Liquid. Goes on neat and easy with a no-mess applicator. Dries to a beautiful glossy wax finish. Griffin has lanolin. It conditions and protects the leather. Gives you a shine that breathes. Griffin Self-Polishing Liquid. Less work for you.
Make it a bright new weekend with a bright new grip and shine. With a bright new grip.
Partly cloudy skies and warm today, tonight and tomorrow with chance of thunder showers. High today and tomorrow, 92. Low tonight, 72. Variable, mostly southeast winds, 5 to 15 miles an hour. Probability of rain, 40% today, 30% tonight, 40% tomorrow. Current winds south at 2. Relative humidity, 88%. Barometric pressure, 30.07 and rising. Partly cloudy skies. Temperature in New Orleans, 79 degrees. This is Cy Jenkins.
96.9.